Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the AEW review for the 11th of August 2021. Dynamite was not a bad show tonight, but certainly a flatter show than they've been doing. Although you've kind of got to expect that. You're going to have down shows, especially with the pay per view coming and the Rampage thing coming and all of that. Show starts with a memorial graphic to the late, great Bobby Eaton. MJF coming out with Wardlow cut the promo on Jericho. He said Jericho worked as hard as he had, only to be stopped away from the arm's length of a finish line by Wardlow. And then MJF is still better than him, he claims. Wardlow said he'd beat Jericho anyway. MJF challenged him like he beat Cody Rhodes in the cage, and he handed Wardlow an apple, and he had been eating it, and Wardlow crushed it in his hand. Christian Cage faces Kenny Omega for the World Championship at All Out, and absolutely no one cared. Don Callis joins the commentary team for the match. The Elite Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, with Brandon Cutler and Michael Nakazawa defeat Matt Sydal, Mike Sydal, and Dante Martin. It's there to get Martin over. I guess that's the idea. Sydal's established control against Matt Jackson early. Nick comes in and gets nailed with a dropkick from Martin, who sends Jackson out. Omega cuts off Martin's offense, sends him to the floor, Sydal's, and then Martin hits a dive onto the Elite on the floor, followed by a crossbody on Matt Jackson for near fall. Omega sidesteps a dropkick from Mike, cuts him off, and was an assistant to the Bucks. The Elite beat him down and nails a bunch of repeated tags. Kodo Crusher beat the two of them down, and Matt finally gets a hot tag and runs wild on everyone with the Northern Lights bomb, getting away with a 2 count on Matt Jackson. Sydal's apply a Cobra Clutch Moodle Lock combination. Omega breaks it up with a Snapdragon suplex. Martin comes back and hits a bunch of innovative offense before tagging back in and hitting the 10 punches in the corner. Lands a dive to the outside on Omega, followed by a Rana and a double springboard moonsault and a good near fall on Jackson. I don't know. It is what it is. We get a bunch of big moves with absolutely zero psychology, and then a bunch of V triggers. Martin fights out of the one-ringed angel, but is met with another V-trigger. The V-trigger, the most overused move in wrestling at this point. We're trying to be MMA fighters, but we don't actually have the strength to do it. Martin rolls up Omega and cuts with yet another V-trigger, so it's like the fifth one in the match. One-winged angel followed by the BTE trigger to finish it all. Post-match, Callis is about to cut a promo. He's cut off by Christian Cage. Callis calls him a Stanford stooge. Not exactly the most innovative insult. Callis points out the numbers advantage leading to Jurassic Express coming out to back him up ahead of the commercial break. Callis then tries to put over Christian, who is loudly booed. CM Punk chants, then yes chants. Callis asks if Christian is nervous. Christian said, "Are you finished?" And insults Callis. And then he announced that Friday Omega defend the Impact Championship against Christian on the day in episode of Rampage. Why are we defending another belt to open a brand new show? That's just horrible booking. Anyway, before the segment ended, Jungle Boy revealed that the Jurassic Express would challenge the Young Bucks next week on Dynamite. What a sad waste of the Jurassic Express. Mikel Black video promo aired. Black addresses Cody, saying that they're both lonely. He produces Cody's boot and said Cody had one foot in the grave. And he references a higher power. Miro video promo aired. He said he'll face Fuego del Sol on Rampage, and if Del Sol wins, he earns an AEW contract. So I would assume that Fuego gets a victory by count out or disqualification or something, because the contract would make sense. Before the match, an insert promo airs from Garcia, who said he would have won last week had Moxley and Kingston not interfered. 2.0 said Sting better not get involved. Darby Allin defeats Danny Garcia with 2.0, and neither man gets a clear advantage, and they do a bunch of chain wrestling. Garcia kicks Allin out of a rope break. Allin goes for the armbar, but Garcia reaches the ropes. Distraction from 2.0 allows Garcia to take control with a hard whip to the corner. Back from commercial. Garcia's targeting Allen's left arm. Allen avoids a corner attack, but the distraction allows Garcia to knock Allen off the top rope. Hammerlock back suplex from Garcia gets a 2 count. Garcia applies a grounded leg submission. Allen's foot reaches the ropes. Chop from Garcia. Fires him up. He lays in some slaps. Allen then counters a suplex into the coffin drop attempt, but Garcia catches him and flies a rear naked choke. Allen jackknifes out of the hold and hits a stunner. Lands a coffin drop for the win. Not sure why they need a match that really doesn't matter on a national television product. After the match, 2.0 is about to attack Allen. Sting cuts them off and beats them down. Sting hits a suplex on the ramp and then sent the 2.0 team packing. Not exactly sure why they're on national TV if we're already going to job them. Death Triangle went backstage. Phoenix tries to fire Pac up, but Penta said he wanted Andrade first. Pac told him not to worry and told him to focus on the tag team titles. Pac then addresses Andrade and said he has no idea he's obsessed with Death Triangle. If Andrade still has a problem, Pac's ready to fight anytime, anywhere. Matt Hardy and Private Party defeat Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, and Wheeler Yuta. I'm sorry, but Matt Hardy in his 40s should not be on TV in this manner. Cassidy does his stuff, but then met with repeated deletes from Hardy. Rolls Hardy up, and Hardy hits the side effect for a near fall. Goes for a dive, but Cassidy rolls out of the way and hits a lazy splash. Cassidy tags in, and Cassidy... both members of Cassidy fight, and Orange Cassidy ends up getting rid of Private Party before Yuta hits a modified angle slam for near fall. Private Party hits a silly string on Cassidy ahead of the break, and one's back. Yuta fights out of a double team from Private Party. Multiple distractions. Nyla Rose runs out and nails Statlander ahead of their match later in the night. Jack Evans attacks Cassidy because we gotta have cluster messes, and Wheeler Yuta reaches Taylor for the hot tag, who runs wild and takes out Blade and Angelico with a dive. Taylor powerbombs Quinn into Cassidy before hitting a spinning Liger bomb for a near fall. Cassidy hits a tornado DDT on Hardy and follows up with a dive, and then Taylor tags Yuta, who hits top rope splash for a near fall. Cassidy gets a blind tag and hits a swanton for a near fall of his own, and Private Party hits the gin and juice on Yuta. Cassidy breaks up the pin and hits the orange punch is hit on the other Cassidy. Hardy tags in, hits Twist of Fate on Yuta for the win. I don't think the right team won here. I don't think this match matters enough to be on national television either. Andrade and Chavo are with Dasha. They call Pac ungrateful. Chavo suggested Andrade teach Pac who's the boss at All Out. A pay-per-view match just to fill pay-per-view time, I assume. Santana and Ortiz promo aired. They said FTR went home too early. The first time in Sign of Danger. Rematch will eventually happen. Chris Statlander with Orange Cassidy defeated Isla Rose with Vicky Guerrero. Rose attacks right before the bell. Statlander gains some momentum for a little bit. Rose hits a German suplex. Statlander avoids the follow-up with a pendulum moonsault off the apron. Cassidy and Vicky face off at ringside, and Vicky proceeds to let loose a scream. Statlander hits a handstand off the ropes, avoids a leg drop, but Rose went on and has a spear. Statlander fights out of the corner attack and hits a powerbomb, followed by the Area 451 for a pin in 4 minutes. The Young Bucks are backstage with Brandon Cutler. Said next week would be easy as a layup. Jurassic Express showed up and they do a basketball play. These basketball things are just stupid. Anyway, a Britt Baker versus Red Velvet video package airs. Velvet says she wasn't happy with Baker on top, and when she started in AEW, no one knew who she was. Baker said she'd defend on her turf. Uh, Baker is brought out in a sea of terrible towels. Her parents are shown in the crowd. Shivani asked Baker about Red Velvet. Baker said she couldn't comment on Velvet's rise to the top because she couldn't relate. She's always been on top of the division, and she stepped up when Pittsburgh needed a champion. Baker said Velvet may have some hope if they're wrestling in any other city. Baker versus Velvet will be the main event, and you're still Baker will still be champion. Velvet runs out, attacks Baker, leading to officials breaking it up, and then we go to an Impact Tag Team Championship match. Good Brothers, Anderson and Gallows, with Brandon Cutler defeated Dark Order, Evil Uno, and Stu Grayson with Colt Cabana. Why are masked goofs on my television show in championship matches? Grayson takes everyone out with a top rope dive before the bell. Double team Dark Order leads to a jackknife pin from Grayson for a near fall. Cutler gets involved, pulls Uno out of the ring, but Cabana takes him out. Kazarian runs out and meets Cutler on the apron clothesline and sends him to the back. Gallows beats down Uno on the floor ahead of the commercial. Uno hits a Rana to reach Grayson, hot tag. Grayson superplex Good Brothers before hitting a twisting springboard moonsault for a near fall. Gallows tags in, but Grayson fights out of the fireman's carry and tries to lift Gallows up. Grayson hits a double Pele kick on the Good Brothers before Dark Order hits a double team overhead suplex. Cannonball 450 splash. Combo for a near fall. Dark Order goes for the fatality. Gallows cuts him off. Grayson fights out with a magic killer and hits an assisted tope on Gallows before flatliner on Anderson, and then they go for the fatality before the belt distraction, allowing Anderson to hit the gun stun, and then they hit the magic killer for the win. Camille cuts a video promo ahead of her NWA World Women's Championship match against Layla Hirsch. Hirsch basically is no match for her, is the claim. Marshall and Factory are in the ring with Tony Schiavone. Kanemaru brings out Schiavone's son and gut punches him, demanding an apology from Schiavone. Schiavone apologized, but Marshall hits Diamond Cutter on his son anyway. This is just utterly stupid. Paul Wright's music hits, and out he comes. Aaron Solo was thrown to right as Marshall and Kanemaru fend off. Wright hits Solo with a clothesline and a choke slam, and stares Marshall down to end the segment. Lineup for Rampage on Friday: Impact World Champion Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage, TNT Championship Miro and Fuego del Sol, AEW Women's Championship Baker and Velvet. Dynamite next week: Tag Team Champions Young Bucks, Jurassic Express, Spears and Sammy Guevara, who also has a major announcement, and Allen and Sting versus 2.0 in a Texas Tornado match. Joey Janela turning on Sonny Kiss airs from one of the internet shows, and Chris Jericho defeating Wardlow with with MJF. Jericho goes right after Wardlow is overpowered and beat up in the corner. Jericho gets a diving axe handle and a code breaker. Wardlow kicks out at 1. Wardlow hits a bunch of suplexes and sends Jericho to the floor inside the barricade. He also uses the ring post as a weapon. Back in the ring, Wardlow hits a powerbomb and then hits a second ahead of the break. Powerbombs upon return. Jericho fights back with some chops, but catches him on a crossbody and hits an F10. MJF instructs Wardlow to finish him. Jericho catches Wardlow dropping a draping knee lift and applies the walls of Jericho. MJF rakes Jericho's eyes, forcing a break. MJF enters the ring. Official catches him and sends him out of ringside. Jericho produced Floyd the Bat and hits Wardlow with it, following a Judas effect for the win. Spears attacks after the match. Guevara makes the save. Wardlow beats down Guevara and MJF locks in the Salt of the Earth on Jericho. Hager runs out, and the Pinnacle members run away. MJF grabs the microphone and says the match next week. Stipulation is Jericho can't use the Judas effect and must come with no entrance music. Next week, Jericho will meet not just his match, but his successor in MJF. MJF is a good talent, probably one of the better ones they have. I don't know that this Jericho thing paid off the way they planned, and we'll be back with more right after this.